Hey everyone, my name is Poisonblade and I hope all of you are doing well today. So for today's video, I'm going to build an Arctic wolf habitat that's set in a graveyard because it kind of fits with today's topic, because I'm going to talk about the 2 years so far that I've been on YouTube, and I'm going to give you guys a heads up, but mental health and the darker topics surrounding it are going to be a thing throughout today's video. So if you're not really wanting to hear any of that, then, well, you have been warned. But with that being said, let's get straight into today's video. So yeah, today's video is going to be difficult because it's a, well, sensitive topic for me, but I thought it's better first of all to talk about it, and hey, maybe my story will help others. But anyway, so as I said, I'm going to talk about the 2 years that I've been on YouTube, basically talking about the sort of journey. And as I said before, mental health is going to be a big thing because, let's put it like this, my channel 2 years ago didn't start out of rainbows, unicorns and smiles. I was actually getting out of what I would consider the darkest period of my life so far, and YouTube is not going to like this, but then anything when it comes to like mental health is probably not that well liked by YouTube. But just to be completely honest with you guys, when I started YouTube, I was actually in therapy because I was suffering from depression and I was suicidal. And if things had changed even for the smallest bit in the past, I wouldn't have been here. Yes, there were attempts, and I don't want to really linger too much in that area because not really a thing that I like to talk about. Like, I mean, it has been 2 years, but it's still like, it's like poking at a scab. It's healing, but it's not fully healed, so I don't want to dial off too much into that part of, well, my life basically. So, as I said, when I started YouTube, I was in therapy, which lasted until just before New Year. So I started the channel in December, and I was basically at like the end of the road when it comes to therapy. And the reason that I started the channel was because, first of all, I wanted to do YouTube for a very long time, ever since I was like in high school. I wanted to do something with YouTube, but then let's just say the only thoughts that were in my mind back then was, you're going to fail. Don't even attempt it. You're going to fail. You're going to not do anything. And yeah, after basically being through most of therapy, I just decided like I can move on and have this as like a somewhat eternal regret that I didn't try it, or I can try it. And so I decided, why not try it? I mean, I can fail, but I can learn things from it. And then the other reason that I started YouTube was that when I was in those darkest moments, I used YouTube as an escape. And you can still see this to this day, because in the channel page there is that part where there's like recommended channels, and all the people that I recommend kind of make sense. They're like Plant Zoo or Plant Coaster creators, and one of them stands out, which is Terrorizer. And that's because when I went, or well, not went into, like, it's like a very slow descent into everything, but whenever I was at like a really dark moment, I would watch his videos, also other videos, and just sort of turn my mind off, which, when you have thoughts like the ones I had, was a great thing. It's not solving much, but it's just a temporary fix. And, those videos would make me turn off my mind a bit, but also could sometimes be like a very bright spot in what was otherwise a very, very dark day. And so basically I wanted to do what has been provided for me in a way. Like, if I can make a video that can, for somebody, like, be a bright spot in their day, or can even just turn their mind off, because some videos are just like, you can turn your mind off. It's like sort of mindless fun in a way like that. But for some people that can really help, and for me it really helped a lot. It's not really solving an issue, but it's having like that temporary fix to basically prevent the worst. So that's basically the two reasons that I went into YouTube in the first hand. Like, not having that regret of like not even trying to do YouTube, and then also providing what has been provided for me. Then I want to move on, otherwise we're stuck in this part forever. But then I'm just going to skip to the first Giantopolis video, which is 2 months after I started the channel. And it's not really the first video, but the real first videos, they are gone, and they weren't really, I was trying out things and such, and they're literally gone because the hard drive that they were on got corrupted. But the first Giantopolis video, I legitimately can't watch, because while for others, like, their first video would be like, cringy because it's really outdated or it's really bad and such. For me, the only thing that I hear or see is just the mindset that I was in back then. And so it feels like I'm watching a completely different person, because it brings me back to the mindset that I was in if I ever watch that video, and that's, well, a person that is nervous, anxious, doesn't know anything about what he's doing, because I went into YouTube with zero editing knowledge and zero knowledge about how to do a proper voiceover. But then also, above all, somebody who is terrified and really stuck in their own head. And this, throughout YouTube, has improved a lot. Like, compared to where I was 2 years ago, right now is like the greatest time ever. Yeah, the first few videos that I made, I legitimately don't want to or will ever watch again, because I will never watch that first video, because I don't want to get transported back to that mindset that I was in back then. And funnily enough, in this period, in like the first, let's say, 10 videos of Giantopolis, actually something did happen, and, well, the squirrel became a thing, or at least the physical, or like the picture of the squirrel. And here I have to bust some people's bubbles, but the squirrel didn't start out like organically, like in some kind of ramble that I suddenly called myself a squirrel. Making the squirrel like thing was a decision that I made, because I didn't have a face cam or like any kind of like picture of my face, so there was no like visual identifier of the channel. So then I decided, oh yeah, I do have a little bit of like a short attention span, which kind of makes me think of a squirrel, so maybe that could be like the visual representation of the channel. And boy, did I not know how that would grow over time when I slowly start to realize, oh yeah, but I also like to ramble. I still have zero, well, of like a attention span, like my attention span is just non-existent. I am intrigued by the weirdest things sometimes, and then, well, just a whole lot of other things. But the good thing in a way is that, well, besides the squirrel thing, that over time I slowly started to just realize, like, I really love to ramble. Like, I love to go into videos with no clue on what to say whatsoever. And I started to see that some people really like that. And I just, over time that became more and more of like my thing that I just love to do. And in a way I just sort of became more open on that. That's like, yes, I'm not a serious person. Well, in real life I am kind of serious. For some reason when you put a mic in front of me I turn into this goofball, but in real life I'm still kind of quiet and serious. Although now it's not anymore like a quiet of like, oh, I'm scared of as hell of saying anything. Now it's just quiet because I'm just like, I kind of like being quiet in a way. But anyway, so I start to slowly like open up more throughout YouTube and such. And the squirrel thing in Giantopolis, beginning of 2019 if I'm correct. Then we're now halfway to 2019. in like April or March, which is when I went to the first Planet Coaster meetup at the Efteling. All I remember was that I was terrified, and that, well, I was opening up, I was gaining more confidence and such, and, you know, being more like, you know, having a little bit more of like self-worth, because that's what depression will do to you. You will think that you're literally worth nothing. I also was, well, halfway through traveling to the Efteling, I was somewhat having a small panic attack, because I was like, this is too much, I need to go home, like this is just, I can't handle this. Luckily, I did pull through and went to the meetup. I was, though, kind of a dick at the meetup. And I basically went to the meetup. I somewhat knew two people. Alia, our friendly neighborhood Belgian, who I knew from Rudy's streams and Discord, and I sort of knew Wix, who I knew from his YouTube channel and then also from Discord. But because I was so closed up and such, I was really afraid to say anything that could provide like a negative opinion in a way. Like nowadays I don't really care too much, but this resulted back then in that I constantly talked about Wix, because Alia and Wix for me were like mentally then my like safe spaces. So I thought like, oh, you know, I can talk about Wix, he's like, we all know him and such. But this also made it really seem like I was just there to meet Wix, which is really a dick move, because going to a meetup only to meet one person is kind of a dick move. And I actually, in that way, insulted someone, or just, yeah, I'm just going to say insulted, it's the best word. And I did heavily apologize afterwards, because even though I was in that like really bad mind state still, that for me doesn't give me an excuse to be a dick. Like, it doesn't take away the responsibilities and such. I apologized. She accepted the apology, as long as I remember her as the supermodel, which 2 years later, or well, 1 year later in a way, I still remember. So yeah, I was really a dick back then, because like, funnily enough, I didn't, like, I think I talked with Wix for like at max 2 minutes then. We kind of just drove off into like multiple different groups at the meetup. But then later that year, like a month or so later, I went to the first of the Lady Designer Zoo meetups. And I, in total, went to 3 of her before the pandemic hit and they were shut down. But here you can see, just in the way that I remember it, that I was definitely in a better mind state. That my confidence, like, that is just a thing over the past 2 years. My confidence kept growing. I opened up more. I really just, you know, I basically slowly became the person that I am today. And all that I remember is that, well, the first meetup I was, of course, a little bit nervous about meeting the lady designer, but then she started taking 100 pictures of raccoons, so then I was like, alright. What was I nervous about again? But the one thing that I really keep remembering about the meetup, which is I think the second meetup that I went to 3 in total, and then the second meetup, I have curly hair, and back then I had it longer than I have now. Like, it was like halfway in my neck, but I did not know how to handle it or how to like take care of it. So I basically walked around with this huge, weird, badly looking afro. There's a picture of me with it looks like I've been electrified. And I mean, funny enough, start of this fall I actually had my hair cut short again. I didn't go into like a Britney Spears moment, don't worry about that. I mean, I didn't go crazy, I was already crazy, but it was just, you know, upkeep and everything was just, nah. Let's just keep it short again, and it's just a lot easier. I can roll out of bed now and just sort of whoosh my hair around and it's good to go. But yeah, so confidence really started to grow, and then we went to the Planet Zoo beta with Ozaru. If stressful and exhausting became a thing, then that would be Ozaru for me. Because I worked on Ozaru for 2 weeks constantly. After Ozaru was finished, I was literally exhausted because I spent almost the entire day, every day of those 2 weeks. Maybe there were 3 weeks, I think 2. But I spent every bit of time that I had on Ozaru, and then, well, now that I look back on it, I can definitely say like, oh, it's not all luck. Like the amount of work that I put into Ozaru, yes, it's kind of like I sort of like, this is always weird to say, but I kind of deserved the amount of everything that followed, because Ozaru was basically the one thing that really blew up the channel. Back then I would say, oh, I'm really lucky. Now I say like, yeah, I did put a lot of work into that. So, but then I thought, oh, you know, I need to follow that up with something as good, which was the anniversary park that I built in Planet Coaster. Yeah, that wasn't really a good thing because I got really sick, I was constantly exhausted, so I took a break, I think, right after the anniversary park. But then with the release, this journey of Kayan al-Bashar began, which had a troubled beginning because the first version got bugged, the second version I built a station, and that basically destroyed the game. And so then 2020, which is a troubled year, I will say that, but for me it has also been the greatest year so far, because I feel like when it comes to just my mindset, like I still have bad days. I still have days where I am not as motivated or I'm not as energetic, but those days are fewer and farther in between. They are also less bad, because at the start of the channel back in 2019, like in the January, February months, the bad days really outweighed the good ones by a lot, like by a landslide. Now it's like, you know, maybe I have a bad day, maybe once a month, once every 2 months or something. So yeah, confidence wise and such, this year has been great for me. I also found out that I have the thing for taking on a bit too much work than I can handle, because this March, May, April, I don't know anymore, like dates for me are a little bit meh. I have the memory of a goldfish. But I had Valhalla, I had Kayan al-Bashar, I had Isla Pacifica, I had Creation and Innovation. I wanted to do challenges, and I was just like, this is way too much. So Kayan al-Bashar continued. Isla Pacifica was already in the finishing stages, so that continued, but off screen mostly. And then Valhalla got faulted, Creation Renovation got cancelled, and challenges I had one, and so that wasn't really too much to cancel. Yeah, also just a quick, thing. Tianopolis is also cancelled. Like as soon as Kayan al-Bashar or Planet Zoo was released, I stopped playing Planet Coaster. And some people still might ask like, oh, are you ever going to return to Tianopolis? The answer is no, because I can't open the park. There's so many Team Maker Toolkit items that got disconnected because, well, when I stopped playing Planet Coaster, the amount of times that I upgrade my PC, like now it's completely new PC, and the amount of times that Planet Coaster has been installed and reinstalled and then deleted, and yeah, basically I can't really open Tianopolis anymore. So Tianopolis is cancelled, and well, that brings us... there hasn't been too much besides that, if I'm correct, when it comes to 2020. Like, again, it's a difficult year with the pandemic, but it's also been the greatest year so far when it comes to like my confidence and everything. And yeah, I can say that whereas at the start of 2019, when I started the channel, everything seemed really bleak and everything, now I can say that there is light at the end of the tunnel. I have really embraced just that I like to be a goofball on videos, that I don't want to be kind of like a serious channel. Even though this video is a little bit serious, but I mean, I think I've been making some jokes throughout today's video. But I've sort of just, where I was first very closed off and I was like, you know, this isn't going to work. Now I'm really just like, yeah, let's see where this goes. And yeah, I am a crazy goofball of a squirrel who has zero attention span. And you know what? I'm fine with that. You know, I'm a fabulous squirrel, and I know it. Again, I still sometimes have bad days, but it's getting a lot better, and coming from the person who, yes, has made attempts to end it, that's just, for me, has been the greatest achievement. And to also then have you guys coming along the road, basically, like, yes, I've seen people come and go, but, well, I actually still have it saved on my phone, but one of the first subscribers is still here. Valky P, I still have you. I probably didn't say your name correctly. I need to open up my phone, but my phone is dead because I forgot to charge it. Again, memory of a goldfish. But if I'm correct, Valky, you were either the 10th subscriber that I had or the 50th, which is weird to now have a channel with 3,000. Yeah. So anyway, that's basically been my journey through YouTube. We started out really dark, really grim, and, you know, with a mind that was basically shat to pieces. And now I'm happy. I'm happy to be a rambling squirrel. Am I still silent in real life? Yes, but that's because I don't give a damn about what other people think about me. I just don't like to talk too much. Is that it? I don't know. Anyway, that's going to be it for today. And when it comes to the build, I quickly just want to reference the build. It kind of is a summary of the journey through YouTube, because we start off with a statue of Hades into, you know, a really, well, it's not really a too grim of a graveyard, but it's dark. And then we ended up with a very, like, flower field, like the flowers are creeping over the dead trees, which, yes, I put in as a symbolism. And yes, I did also give myself a tombstone in the, well, I say graveyard, but I'm going to call this episode the Necropolis because it's huge. But yeah, there is this gravestone for me there, and it is cracked. It's broken. It's not fully, you know, pretty and such. But there are flowers growing through the cracks. It's kind of like that Kelly Clarkson song that I really like Broken but Beautiful. Or Broken and Beautiful, I think is the song title. But anyway, before I start going off into really just weird tangents, let's end today's video. So I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope that this, I don't know if this story will help anyone, but I just wanted to put it out there to, you know, just put it out there. So anyway, hope again that you enjoyed the video. If you really enjoyed it, like, it feels really weird to do this right now after this video, but anyway, if you liked the video, there is the like button, there is a subscribe button if you want to see more, and there's a bell button that's, you know, doesn't really work. So anyway, hope all of you have a nice day. Bye bye.